Special Ops veteran Aaron Cohn, Fox and Friends weekend co-host Pete Hegseth. Pete, you think back to that, and all of that was preventable because when the Taliban was on the march all the way from the south all the way up to Kabul, they had plenty of time to stop them and to accelerate the withdrawal. They didn't do it. They have all this military equipment. We lost 13 Americans that day. Other lives were lost that day. And they promised not to leave a single American behind, and they abandoned many. And they abandoned our allies, along with computer files with their names on it, so that the Taliban, taking control, can find out who helped us over the last 20 years there. And a lot of those people were taken out of their homes, never to be seen or heard from again. Great job, Kamala and Joe.
Yeah, we left all the biometric data behind, so they knew exactly who'd been working for Americans for 2 decades. That statement by Kamala Harris, first of all, shameless, because she is shameless. It's also incredibly shameful. And this 3-year mark is a stain on America. It's a scandal before, during, and after. Before, because they knew what would happen if we pulled out, if we gave away Bagram, if we did it that way. And they ignored the advice of everyone who knew better. It's a scandal during because they relied on the Taliban for security. Kamala was the last one in the room giving advice to Joe. And then you're getting Americans killed, and we're leaving hundreds and thousands of Americans behind. And then a lot of us forget, we've given almost $3 billion to the Taliban since we left. We're still sending aid funding controlled by the Taliban into Afghanistan, which they probably used to make all of those vehicles and helicopters operable again. So this is a stain on Joe Biden and Kamala. It led to the war in Ukraine. It led to the attack from Hamas. It exposed American weakness on the global stage in a way we had not seen before. It's one of the most shameful moments in my history, in our nation's history, and it belongs to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And our job is to remind Americans, if you want more of this, if you want more chaos, then vote for more of their climate change LGBTQ focus, which is what they're focusing our Pentagon on, instead of actually fighting and winning wars and defeating our enemies. This is unserious, but it's really dangerous for us.
Well, let's get your take on it, Aaron, specifically with your background and in light of the fact that we still expect that at any moment Iran could be attacking Israel, as the supreme leader has been pretty much telegraphing that's coming any day now. When you look at this and you see this, you know, how does the world react to a weak America militarily and an America that abandoned its allies, abandoned its own military, and abandoned, you know, American citizens and left them there to fend for themselves?
Well, Sean, I believe that it shows a complete negligence and incompetence in understanding specifically how guerrilla operations work in relation to counterterrorism, which is what Israel's been conducting against Hamas in Gaza, going after terror leaders, killing thousands of terrorists every day. And I think Kamala and Biden, proud of the fact that they left over $1 billion worth of equipment, which Pete pointed out is probably very operable at this point. Signals, which is a very dangerous thing on the global stage. It also shows that the Biden-Harris administration doesn't have the tools to understand that in order to have a total domestic security and national security package, the United States needs to keep assets in those regions, just like we're doing in Iran, in taking out those terror leaders like Ismail Haniyeh. But those troops need to be in those forward operating areas, not folded and collapsed, to keep that pressure on those terrorist organizations, because the moment that pressure is off, we lose those diamonds. That means that they become emboldened, they regroup, they reassemble, and they start replanning and plotting. I remind you, 9/11 was a very low-tech terror attack. I remember it, and so do you, like yesterday. I also think it puts an egg stain on the face of those warriors like Pete, who were down in Afghanistan and Iraq fighting, and not having that luxury of knowing that the work they did isn't stained in blood for no reason. We certainly wouldn't allow that to happen in Israel, and I think the U.S. needs to take a look at the way the Israelis are handling our counterterror operations, because now we're looking at the expansion of it through Iran and its proxies on a much more dangerous global scale. And I think the U.S. needs to get serious about this, and I think it's Donald Trump who understands that. And I think that I think that Kamala and this cultural warfare they're launching has endangered the military and the U.S. capacity to be able to fight terror in the big picture.
Well, America, you know, there are Americans that are willing to vote for a woman that thinks you need the courage to no longer say the words radical Islamic terrorism or the words illegal alien. But of course, most Americans wouldn't know that unless they watch this show, listen to talk radio, and a few other shows here on Fox. Thank you both. When we come back. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.